When Did Civilizations Begin?, makes this statement: new findings have made shambles of the traditional theory of prehistory. Well, what are some of these findings? Well, you can go to any library, you can look at television documentaries, you can make observations from around the world which show that in the past, the further back we go, the more advanced were the people of the past, the splendors of the past. We can look at articles like a collection here of Reader's Digest articles: In the Beginning, The Mystery of Ancient Egypt, Mysteries of the Maya, Unsolved Mysteries of the Great Pyramid, The Mystery of the Whirlpool Sculpture. Or we can look at a series of books, Megaliths and Their Mysteries, Mysterious Britain, or Mysteries of the Ancient World, The Mysterious Maya, or Mysteries of the Past, or another example, The World's Last Mysteries. Why is that word, mystery, used over and over again? It's because we cannot explain, we cannot understand what these people of the past were doing from a conventional perspective. It does not line up with the evolutionary worldview that the further back you go in time, the more primitive man should be. The Bible challenges us to examine what has been left to us by the ancient civilizations. In the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 8, the Bible states, "Inquire of past generations, and consider the things searched out by their fathers. For we are only of yesterday, and know nothing." In verse 10 it says, "Will they not teach you and tell you?" And so that's what we will do tonight. We'll examine what has been left by these people of the past. For Solomon, who the Bible notes for his tremendous wisdom, in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1 and verse 9, said, "That which has been is that which will be, and that which has been done is that which will be done, so there is nothing new under the sun." History merely repeats itself. And that's what we're going to see. Many of the things that were being done in the past are once again being reintroduced into our society today. Let's look at some of the evidence. If original man was as advanced, as intelligent as the Bible claims, then we should find ample evidence from around the world. We mentioned in Genesis chapter 4 that the ancients understood metallurgy. They made implements of bronze and iron, it says in verse 22. Well, it's interesting, in the very location where the Bible claims that the ark landed, Mount Ararat, in this region, Russian scientists have found the remains of furnaces, over 500 furnaces that had been used in the past for smelting bronze, including copper with zinc, tin, and arsenic. Or we could go to the ancient Danube basin, that is ancient Europe, where these sophisticated tools were found that go back before the time of Christ. Or we could go to Egypt. We could look at this artifact here, electroplated. Electroplated artifacts have been found literally around the world because the ancients used electricity. Here in a museum in Baghdad, a number of years ago, was discovered a battery. At first they didn't know what it was. That later determined to be a battery. The ancients were able to make batteries. They could produce electricity. This particular article here from the Forgotten Ages Journal tells about some of the artifacts found around the world which have been electroplated. It tells about belt buckles in China, which were made of 5% manganese, 10% copper, and 85% aluminum. Aluminum? The ancients understood how to extract aluminum from bauxite ore. That takes temperatures in excess of 1,000 degrees plus electrolysis. Well, it appears that the ancients could generate extremely high temperatures. This article here from the World's Last Mysteries indicates that some of the Celtic forts appear to have been literally vitrified, that is, stone turned into glass, by temperatures exceeding 1,300 degrees Celsius. Or this article here mentions in China some swords that have been found dating back 2,200 years ago that are made of 13 metals that have been alloyed together. Yes, the ancients did understand metallurgy. There's also evidence which indicates that the people of the past were able to travel extensively. They were not just limited to certain areas. They could literally travel the globe. For example, we could look at this book here called American BC, Ancient Settlers in the New World by Barry Fell. He has discovered a number of artifacts in North America which can be traced to various civilizations in the Eastern world, from the ancient Celts, Iberians, Libyans, and Egyptians. This stone that was found in 1874 in Iowa contained Libyan, Iberian, and Egyptian inscriptions. Or this particular chart here compares Egyptian hieroglyphics with Micmac Indian writing, that is a tribe of Indians on the east coast of the United States. And many of the words are absolutely identical, and others are very similar, indicating that there's been some influence of the ancient Egyptians with the Indians in this part of the world. Or we could look at this article here, Who Really Discovered America, Reader's Digest. The leading paragraph states, startling evidence indicates that the American continents drew many early visitors, including some more than 2,000 years before Columbus. And it tells that in Rio de Janeiro, a number of stones were found with inscriptions which literally were given the date of 531 BC, which describe the Sidonians traveling to this part of the world. And it mentions the story of seafarers from the Mediterranean city of Sidon landing in South America 2,023 years before Columbus is not science fiction. It is sober scientific fact. So the ancients could travel. Or we have the Piri-Reis map, which was drawn in 1513 but reconstructed from older maps that were in existence. It shows the land coastline of the Antarctic, which we didn't discover because it's covered in ice, didn't map until 1952 by modern technological means. Or, of course, the great Polynesians of the past, who constructed vessels that were capable of traversing the entire Pacific Ocean by the time of Christ. You see, the ancients had the ability to literally travel around the world. Let's take a quick trip around the ancient world to look at various civilizations, just to once again get a glimpse of what was going on in the past. First of all, to the ancient Minoan civilization on the island of Crete. This civilization was wiped out during the 1500 BC, by two major catastrophes that took place approximately 50 years apart, which incidentally coincide with the Exodus and Joshua's long day. Civilizations of the past, the ancient Minoans, were highly advanced. Some of the reconstruction of the temples that were destroyed there catastrophically, as we look at them, we see they had tremendous abilities, architectural abilities, artistic design. If we look into the interiors, reconstructions of some of these great temples of the past, once again we see their inlaid stone, natural ventilation and air conditioning, beautiful artist work upon the walls. If we look at this particular one in a more close-up scale of the ceiling, we see the presence of the swastika, which was used as part of the decor at this time of history. And of course, we know that the swastika was associated with Hitler, who was associated with the occult. And many of the symbols of the past associated with occultism, we see have been brought back into our modern history, and as we'll see, are being brought back today as part of what we call the New Age movement. Some other artifacts associated with the ancient Minoans, the artistic design and paintings on some of their walls. Or we could look here, some of the dress worn by the ladies, and their hairstyles, their makeup, contemporary with some of the styles of today. Some of their beautiful pottery, which is lavishly decorated. Or we could go to Egypt, known for its monumental stone structures, its pyramids, the worship of the ancient deities and the demigods. You see, associated with these great civilizations of the past was their tremendous interest in worshiping various heavenly objects as gods. They worshiped the sun as God, the moon as God. They worshiped everything as God. They built great pyramids and ziggurats aligned with specific locations in the heavens that they worshipped. We could look at this location here in ancient Egypt, the temple of Abu-Simbel, which was carved out of rock. It had to be relocated when the Aswan Dam was built several decades ago. But in order to do so, modern technology had to carve these great, huge carvings into 20-ton blocks in order to move them. Well, the ancients were able to move stones that weighed many more times than 20 tons. We could look at King Tut's tomb, his sarcophagus, made of gold and precious stones, or some of the jewelry associated with King Tut. Once again, showing the high qualifications, the abilities of these people of the past. Or we can look at a series of books, megaliths and their mysteries, Mysterious Britain, or Mysteries of the Ancient World, the Mysterious Maya, or Mysteries of the Past, or another example, The World's Last Mysteries. Why is that word, mystery, used over and over again? It's because the further back we go, the more advanced were the people of the past, the splendors of the past. We can look at articles like a collection here of Reader's Digest articles. In the beginning, the mystery of ancient Egypt, mysteries of the Maya, unsolved mysteries of the Great Pyramid, the mystery of the whirlpool sculpture. We cannot explain, we cannot understand what these people of the past were doing from a conventional perspective. It does not line up with the evolutionary worldview that the further back you go in time, the more primitive man should be. The Bible challenges us to examine when did civilizations begin, makes this statement. New findings have made shambles of the traditional theory of prehistory. Well, what are some of these findings? Well, you can go to any library, you can look at television documentaries, you can make observations from around the world which show that in the past, what has been left to us by the ancient civilizations. In the book of Job, chapter 8 and verse 8, the Bible states, "Inquire of past generations, and consider the things searched out by their fathers. For we are only of yesterday, and know nothing." In verse 10 it says, "Will they not teach you?